Curse of the Jersey Devil, a Jason Voorhees story by Rashad M. Moore. Chapter 18. Inside the house, the group stood around with the song Love is a Lie playing in the background. Floyd and Carly were still dancing. They didn't really seem bothered by the current circumstances. Ezra just shook his head in disbelief to how they could be so lackadaisical in the moment. In a way, he was a bit envious. After all, back in his hometown, he was the valedictorian of his graduating class. The school staff was less lenient and more strict on him because of his status. Naturally, he was a leader, because he cared. He only wished that people had the same ambition as he did. It crossed his mind to where the rest of the people from the family reunion could have gone. It was 20-something people just missing. How did they just disappear without a trace? That's one of the things he wanted to figure out. Someone was knocking on the front door. Everyone was downstairs in the house. Carly and Floyd stopped dancing, and Floyd turned off the radio. Kelvin picked up the rifle and aimed it at the door. Cassandra whispered to Ezra, "Go see who it is. We have your back. Pretty sure bears don't knock on doors." Ezra hesitated and didn't look eager to go to the door, but he went anyway. Fiona said, "I'll be right behind you." Luckily, there was a peephole in the door. Ezra looked through it, and what he saw was... "You're still alive?" Ezra muttered out loud and quickly opened the door, which caused Kelvin to jump defensively. When the door opened and everyone saw the individual standing outside of the door, a sign of relief came to the group. "Dave!" Ezra shouted with optimism. "Come in, hurry!" Ezra locked the door and Dave walked into the kitchen where everyone was waiting. He was breathing heavily, so he waited about a minute to catch his breath and then spoke. "I'm surprised, too. I thought I was a goner when that bear snatched me up, but lucky I had some bear spray on me and pulled it out just in time to douse it right in the eyes for it to let me go. I found it earlier while I was walking in the woods when it was raining. I don't know where it came from, but I'm glad it was there. I unfortunately have some bad news. I found 2 mangled bodies back at Clearwater. It looked like the bear ate 2 of your family members." Fiona spoke in a disappointed tone. "Yeah, the bear attacked us while we were all in the cabins. It must have gotten them when we ran away. And we still have so many people unaccounted for. I hate this place." Dave replied, "My condolences to y'all, but that's why it's my duty to get y'all out of here alive. Trust in me and I'll lead the way." Carly, in an annoyed tone, spoke to Dave. "We trusted you to protect us the last time, and that bear snatched you up like you were Cinderella, and somehow you're still alive, with not even a scratch on you? You're fucking shady. How do we know that you're not behind all of this?" Kelvin spoke. "You're damn right, Carly. That's a legit point. What the fuck is this country-ass Texas guy doing in the state of New Jersey in the wintertime? There's some funny shit going on for real." The rest of the group started to become a bit suspicious of Riker. Carly's statements were making a lot of sense. Ezra thought to himself, maybe she's not as simple-minded as she comes off. Riker tried to calm the group down. The group still had no idea of the Voorhees' brother and their father. He continued, "All right, I have a small confession of speculation I want to make. It's just a theory, but I think we may be dealing with a stalker who possibly could be a serial killer. I don't know the extent that he or she may be a threat to us, but just be on guard." Fiona stressed, "Great, a possible serial killer that we're dealing with. Could it get any worse?" Floyd replied, "Well, I guess flesh-eating zombies would be worse." Sorry. Cassandra looked at Floyd with annoyance while shaking her head. "Shut up." Second Star Riker took the lead of the conversation. "For now, our best option is to stay in this house until I can get in contact with the authorities. My comm isn't working, so I guess we're out of luck for now, but at least we have shelter." Ezra reminded Riker, "We still have one of the radios. It works, and I was able to get in touch with my uncle a few hours ago. I have no idea where he is. I hope he's all right." "That's great news. What's your uncle's name? I need to know, so if we get help, I can know the details." Ezra continued, "His name is Quentin Esposito, and technically he's a friend of the family, not like blood kin, but we still treat him like a relative." Carly interrupted, "Okay, that's enough information sharing with this guy. I officially don't trust this Texan. He's off and full of shit." Second Star Riker had a small grin on his face. He was slightly impressed of how accurate Carly was with her suspicions of him. He spoke. "All right, that's your right to be suspicious of me. I'll deal with it," Carly replied. "No, that's my instincts telling me that. Women's intuition don't lie, so you can fuck off." Kelvin decided to follow up on Carly's verbal assault. "Women's intuition ain't shit. They can't even pick the right man. But anyways, you're right, Carly. This guy is kind of strange. But I guess for now we have to work with him until we can get in a better position." Riker grabbed the rifle out of Kelvin's hands and quickly walked over to one of the windows and peeped his head out to see where the roar was coming from. It was back. The black bear was on the side of the house. "Not this time," Second Star Riker said out loud, and then he told the group, "I'm going upstairs." Fiona asked, "For what?" "To get the high ground. I don't intend on letting this beast break down that door again." Cassandra replied, "How do we know that the bear broke through the front door the first time?" Carly, "Exactly my point." When Second Star Dave Elvis Riker got upstairs, he went to the room that was closest to the bear. He opened one of the windows and pointed the rifle in ready position at the beast's torso. He shot at the bear once and hit it on the shoulder, landing his shot and wounding the bear. It didn't cripple the bear, but it definitely gained its attention. The bear roared in frustration at the agent. The bear ran around the front door and tried to break it, but the door was thicker than the door at the cabin. Riker came charging down the stairs. Right away, he saw a mail slot in the door and stuck the barrel of the gun through it and shot the bear again. The bear growled in anger as it quickly jogged away from the door. Then it ran into the woods and disappeared. Riker had fought off the bear in front of the group. He rushed back downstairs, and Floyd said with an exciting expression, "Whoa, that was incredible. You scared it off. Maybe we do have a chance of making it out of here." Ezra spoke. "Yeah, if we don't have to deal with a serial killer. But so far, we're doing better." Riker interjected. "Y'all trust me now? I know what I'm doing. I'm from Texas. I know how to deal with apex predators. As long as I have the right tools, I can always put up a fight." Carly asked, "What's that?" She pointed at a chain around Riker's neck. Riker answered, "A good luck charm. You know we all need some luck in our lives, and besides, it did just work." Riker pulled the necklace out from his undershirt and showed them. Cassandra reacted. "Aren't you supposed to be a Christian? Why are you wearing an ankh instead of a cross? That's suspicious." Kelvin, "That isn't an ankh. What you trying to be, Egyptian, white boy?" "What the heck was that?" Riker said, surprised. Everyone was standing around the living room. What they saw that came through the broken window was a head. It looked like a disfigured head of a person. "Oh my God," gasped Fiona. "Is that a human head?" The group stared at it in awe. You could feel the mood change in the room. No longer did their biggest problem come from the bear. Cassandra, grossed out by the severed head, vomited on the floor. Carly spoke. "What maniac would do such a thing?" Kelvin burst out with his own statement. "Must have been that creepy serial killer you were talking about before, Riker. Do you think it's actually that Jason Voorhees guy?" Ezra replied. "You mean that guy we talked about yesterday before the dodgeball game?" "Yeah, that fucking guy. It's adding up. I didn't think he was real at first, but it's making a lot more sense now." Floyd interrupted. "Does it really matter at this point? We are all in deep shit. I mean, first the bear and now this? What the fuck are we expected to do right now? This shit is crazy. Let's just move to somewhere else." Riker spoke up. "I wouldn't recommend that. It's way too dangerous out there right now, and whoever is out there..." Riker stopped in mid-sentence. The door was now completely broken open. They were exposed and vulnerable. Walking slowly through the door was a large, bulky man with a tomahawk blade in one hand and a bladed chain in the other. It was Johnny Voorhees, the White Pine Slaughterer. He was here to inflict the pain in a violent nature. He threw his tomahawk blade at the face of Second Star Riker. Riker spun and evaded the blade. It had barely missed him and had landed in the wall. The girls ran away to the other side along with Floyd. Ezra and Kelvin were standing next to each other and had started to scramble around looking for weapons to defend themselves against the masked assailant. Kelvin quickly ran to the wall and pulled out the tomahawk blade and held it in his hand, waiting for Johnny to get closer. Johnny now charged Second Star Riker, and right away Riker grabbed the rifle and shot Johnny in the head once and chest 2 times. The muscled killer dropped the bladed chain and fell to the ground. Everyone was still shaken up and hadn't let down their guard. Johnny popped up from the floor and quickly picked up his bladed chain and charged after the girls. He swung the chain in the direction of Fiona, Carly, and Cassandra. He got one. He had successfully wrapped the chain around Cassandra's neck, choking her. Riker screamed, "Back up, girls!" He was ready to shoot the White Pine Slaughterer again. But the girls had been too close in range. He could hit one of them by accident. Floyd tried to grab and release the chain, but it was too tight and the killer had an almost unshakable grip on her. Then Kelvin charged at Johnny with the tomahawk knife. He screamed in an angry tone, "Get the fuck off her, you filth!" and swung the blade as hard as he could, landing it on the shoulder of Johnny. Kelvin hacked him 2 more times in the shoulder, causing Johnny to drop the bladed chain in irritation and temporarily back off to regain his wits. Riker shot Johnny 4 more times. But this time Johnny did not fall. He charged at Second Star Riker and landed a colossal punch on him right to the face, throwing a right hook and then landing a left straight to him, dropping him in a daze to the ground, and then lastly stomped him once in the face. Riker was out cold. Johnny turned towards the girls. But before Johnny could get to the girls, Kelvin interrupted him by jumping in the way, blocking Johnny. Kelvin kicked Johnny in the groin with his left foot, then threw a right elbow at the masked man. Johnny hadn't reacted yet. Next, Kelvin grabbed Johnny by his collar, pulled off his firefighter's mask, and started to headbutt him repeatedly. Kelvin must have landed about 6 headbutts on Johnny, and it seemed to have done some damage. This moment reminded Johnny from yesterday, when he had killed the fat man named Otis, but this bastard had more resilience. Johnny then grabbed Kelvin by his lower back and started to bear hug him just like he did Ned Finkelstein. Kelvin screamed in agony, "Ah!" but saw a small opening and bit Johnny on the side of his neck, removing a large hunk of flesh. But Johnny still had a grip on him and didn't intend on letting Kelvin go until his back was broken. Then Johnny heard music playing. Cassandra had pushed play to distract the killer. Johnny dropped Kelvin and let his body hit the floor and then slowly started walking in the direction of the girls once again. Floyd charged at Johnny to try to tackle him. His body moved a few inches and then Johnny just picked Floyd up with ease and powerbombed him through the wooden kitchen table, sending Floyd into shock. The music stopped. Kelvin was on the floor and probably crippled or paralyzed. Ezra had been watching the whole time, and Johnny had somehow forgot that he was in the room. Ezra picked up the rifle and shot Johnny in the back with the remaining bullets in the gun. Johnny was close enough to grab Ezra, and when he did, he got a hold of his neck, lifted him in the air, and started choking him. Ezra tried to gasp for air, but the White Pine Slaughterer''s grip was too powerful. In a short time, if he didn't get loose, he would be dead. With the girls watching Ezra get choked to death, Kelvin crippled on the floor, Floyd in shock, the girls were vulnerable. Fiona and Carly had grabbed kitchen knives while Cassandra had a large skillet in hers. Johnny saw this as his best opportunity to charge the girls one last time. He started walking with Floyd in his grasp, with one arm, and muttered in an irate voice to the girls, "For Daddy!" That creeped the girls out even more, and right before Johnny could get a hold of any of them, Second Star Riker exploded onto his feet, somehow pulling a sword out, swinging it in the direction of Johnny's neck, and cutting his head off. Right away, Johnny dropped Ezra from his choke. Ezra gasped for air, then coughed excessively. Riker then stabbed Johnny's head with the blade. The girls and Riker now were seeing energy orbs leaving the body of Johnny. They were going into the chest area of Second Star Riker. Johnny was dead, and Second Star Dave Elvis Riker had killed him. This wasn't a part of the assignment, and this would definitely alter things for Wolfram and Hart. Ezra ran over to the three girls and hugged them. Riker checked the pulse of Floyd. Then Cassandra walked over to Kelvin and put him in her arms. Kelvin spoke in a very broken and exhausted tone. "Hey, Shotty, I told you I wasn't going to let anything happen to you. I still want to shoot my shot with you. It ain't over for me," Cassandra said to Kelvin. "Sure thing, my White Knight. I will always be grateful that you saved my life. You're a brave man." Then Cassandra French-kissed Kelvin for a good long moment. And when she was finished, she pulled her head up and realized that Kelvin had passed on to the afterlife. His eyes were closed, and Kelvin Johnson was dead. "You all right?" Riker said to Cassandra. She replied while crying, Just emotionally hurt." Second Star Riker rounded up the rest of the group. "Come on, people, we gotta keep moving. We still have that bear out there." Ezra, Fiona, Cassandra, and Carly all walked towards the door. Riker put the unconscious Floyd onto his shoulders and said to Cassandra, "We'll come back to get Kelvin's body, but first we need to get out of here. Let's go." Riker grabbed his rifle and the remaining group walked out of the cabin. The last person to walk out of the house was Riker. He looked down to the ground and took one last look at the mask of the White Pine Slaughterer. Wolfram and Hart would be surely to punish him for this. He had destroyed their primary artifact and Dr. Helen Kane's ultimate experiment. There was no going back. Watching from a distance inside of the dark woods, Mr. Voorhees, in human form, watched Riker and the group depart from the lake house. He was irate and fed up with Star Riker. Mr. Voorhees said to himself out loud, "You're gonna pay for killing my boy, Riker. The directors can't save you from me. My other boy has successfully killed Mr. and Mrs. Sully. The directors have no idea that Meta-Jason exists, and I intend on keeping it that way. Now we take this to the last phase, the Voorhees way." Back at director's headquarters, lead director Lila Morgan spoke to the old man in person, face to face. "Did we just lose an asset to one of your guys?" she said angrily. "Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened down there, but I can..." Junior partner and lead director Lila Morgan had slit the old man's throat. She looked over at the 30-something-year-old co-worker of the old man and told her, "I'll be taking over from here on out. Don't fail me, young lady, unless you want to end up like your friend here." The young lady replied, "Yes, ma'am." Chapter 19. Faith. "All right, Marcus is unconscious. We're supposed to stop this Jason Voorhees guy, and I'm soaking wet. Nobody ever mentioned crappy weather to me, but okay. I tried CPR. That didn't work. Maybe I should just give it time. Like, I guess that book is supposed to heal him, so I'll just let the mojo take its course." Faith walked back and forth for a few short feet, trying to figure the best next course of action for her and her unconscious friend. Marcus Duke had shown no sign of coming into awakened consciousness, so Faith kept him laying down on the floor. Seeing Marcus on the floor caused her to reminisce about a time She hid and slept in a freight cart for 2 weeks. It had been the safest place to live for her while living on the streets as a slayer. Not only did she have to be cautious of vampires, demons, and all kinds of night crawlers during the night, but also humans. The dangerous ones, robbers, thieves, murderers, rapists, etc. She had come across them all. It seemed like half of the time the humans were just as evil, if not worse than some demons. To Faith, it seemed as if most evil is there to serve what had created it, but with humans, it was almost always their ego that led to them doing bad deeds. She thought to herself, "Hate that Wolfram and Hart is involved again. I knew that Angel destroyed their law firm in '05, but I guess they still have remnants lingering around. So tired of these people. Like the Watchers Council was annoying enough for me. Sure wouldn't mind having Bee's assistance with this one, but no, Buffy Summers is too good to help out old seasoned veteran slayer Faith Lehane." She spat on the ground once. She started to think out loud. "I need a hot shower and I need to get laid." For a few short minutes she took off her shoes to squeeze out the water from her socks. Her boots were soaked. She let her feet air out for a couple of minutes, then put her socks and shoes back on. "Ah, that's better," she said. She continued analyzing the situation. So according to Marcus, this Kandarian dagger is supposed to kill Jason, or at least slow him down. Reminds me of the Slayer Scythe. Wonder how this dagger would work with me as its overseer. Of course, Wolfram and Hart would want this in their possession, like with everything else. How's a girl supposed to make a living in this crazy world? Faith started to walk back and forth, pondering on what she should do next. From the corner of her eyes, with her enhanced Slayer peripheral vision, she saw a young, scrawny-looking teenage girl with red hair, somewhat close in range. She watched her for a few moments in suspension. She didn't appear to be a threat, but looks can be deceiving. "Hey there, young lady, what brings you into these dangerous woods?" Faith asked. The girl explained to Faith. "Well, I got lost. I was with my family when a wild bear attacked us while we were inside. I haven't seen them ever since. I'm lost. What's your name?" Faith replied with intrigue. "You got a little stutter to you. Aren't you cute? My name's Faith, and your name, girlie?" The girl replied, "Harmony Sully, will you help me? I don't know where my dog Ares has gone. Can you help me find him?" "Maybe, but who the heck is Ares? He's not the god of war, Ares, is he?" Harmony snickered. "No, he's not." Faith. "So I guess you can stick it with me for now, but I have to keep a close eye on you. You could be what you aren't saying what you are. No offense. This is just a crazy situation." Harmony replied, "I understand." And then she asked, "Who's the guy on the floor? Is he hurt?" Faith really didn't want to bother to explain the circumstance, but she did anyways. "That's my friend Marcus. He was in a big fight earlier. He's trying to heal so that we can stop this masked killer whose name is Jason Voorhees. That's who he fought." What won the fight?" Harmony asked. Faith responded, "Take a guess. My boy's not looking up to par. He could use some medical attention." Harmony looked up to Faith and said, "I think he's dreaming." Faith, "What do you mean? Like he's put into a trance?" Harmony, "That's very possible. I have this thing, well, an ability to heal people. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I can give it a try on your boy." Harmony got in a deep squat and held her hands out, palm down, hovering about a half-foot over the body of Marcus Duke. It was the crack of dawn and still a bit dark outside, but the illuminated light that was glowing out off the hands of Harmony were lighting the forest up to make it look enchanted. What was this pure energy? It had a peaceful ambiance to it. Faith, "Wow, have you always been able to do this?" Harmony, "As far as I can remember, I would say yes." Harmony informed Faith, "If this works, it can take a few hours. It depends on how much darkness that the individual has in their heart." Faith, "Well, I guess if it was me that needed healing, you would likely need all day. Hope he's not too overburdened for you." Harmony. Faith expressed her gratitude towards Harmony. "You are a lifesaver if you're able to heal this guy. And to do it fast would be badass. As for me, he's my homeboy, so I just need to keep an eye on him so that this Jason guy doesn't try to come and finish him off. Harmony continued to try to heal Marcus. Her hands were still hovered over his body. Director's headquarters. Lead director and junior partner Lila Morgan sat in the middle of the room, in her very court judge-looking chair. She commanded to the younger lady, "Give me all perimeters and angles on Faith Lehane. I am familiar with this bitch. She has a tendency to get in Wolf Raymond Hart's way. She helped that Buffy Summers defeat Ubervamps in Sunnydale, California. That was one of many of our apocalypses." The younger lady spoke up. "Ma'am, our records show that this is the same Faith Lehane that is linked to Mayor Wilkins back in '99? Director Lila responded, "Yes, tell me something I don't already know. These artifacts can last up to 15 minutes in duration, right? Deploy the next artifact." The director demanded. "Description, read it to me." The young lady started to read the artifact's profile to the lead director, out loud in the room. "It's a Class B artifact, almost Class A. It's an ancient entity with superior reflexes. It enjoys devouring human flesh." Pacing back and forth still, Faith stopped in place and started to engage the environment more. Something felt different, and she could sense it through the sensorium of her body. Being a slayer required that you paid extra attention to the nuances and subtleties of the smallest changes in the environment and in people's behavior. Though she wasn't very book-smart growing up, she always had a keen sense of when she thought dangerous energy was around. She could even sometimes tell how long her relationships would last, just based on how the person's demeanor towards her came off. She also could usually tell when a guy was into her. That is, if they wanted to be with her, or if they just wanted to sleep with her. Faith sometimes was fine with either. Coming from a broken home with an abusive father and alcoholic mother, she always felt that getting your hopes up always unnecessarily raised the stakes of the situation. She felt that if you kept low expectation when something great happened, it would come as a sign that you were finally blessed. She focuses on the idealistic. That doesn't translate to her being an optimist, but she definitely doesn't consider herself to be a pessimist. Faith tuned into her introverted sensing. Her hypersensory perception was picking up strange energy signatures. She could even smell some pheromone changes in the environment. She made a statement to Harmony. "Hey, Harmony, I know that you're doing your healing thing, and I am grateful for having you here with your ability to use your special powers to help my friend out, but I think we have some incoming company. I'll do my best to keep them away from you and Marcus, but I'm not sure what we're dealing with yet." Harmony continued to try and heal Marcus Duke while he was on the floor. Harmony asked Faith, "You're gonna fight whatever's out there by yourself, Faith?" Faith chuckled. "Hell yeah, I'm a slayer that is a vampire slayer. I'm not afraid of anything. I have experience, and girls kick ass anyways. Sometimes it's good to let out your inner bitch." Harmony looked a bit confused and asked, "Inner bitch? What does that mean, Faith?" Faith gladly explained it. "You know, like when a guy pisses you off by continuing you asking you for your number even though you told him no multiple times. Kind of like when someone lies to you when you were being the honest one. When people betray you, you must make them feel regret." Harmony thought about it a little harder and said, "I think I get it. It's like when my Uncle Quentin tells me to use my mean streak when he thinks I'm being too nice." Faith replied, "Yeah, precisely. That's exactly it, Harmony. Now it's time for me to go be a bitch. I'm gonna kick some ass." It was now light outside. The morning had come. Faith stood near a large tree where she placed Marcus Duke. She heard flapping wings but saw nothing. She stood still and could hear leaves dropping, but no clue where the flapping wing noise had come from. Faith looked back at Harmony, and what she saw was Harmony pointing her finger in Faith's direction. It was behind her. When Faith looked back, what Faith saw on top of one of the branches, a shadow figure that appeared to be wearing a hat and a weatherly coat. The shadowy figure didn't move an inch. Faith continued to gaze at the non-moving object. She thought to herself, Never mind. I'll do that if I'm in a desperate position. Anyways, Faith glanced over at Harmony, and about the time she looked back, wings explodingly shot out of the back of the still not moving coat. Hat wearing mysterious figure. Then the mysterious figure moved. It was a he. He moved his finger, pointing it at Faith, and took off his hat and exposed his face out of the shadows. He appeared to be a demon, a sweaty-looking one. "He's definitely creepy," Faith spoke to the creepy figure. "What do you want from us?" she asked. The demon pulled from one of his coat pockets an old license plate with the capital letters spelling Beatngu. Faith. "Be eating you? Oh, one of those types of demons. Gross." Its name was the Creeper, and his objective was to feed on the flesh of the living. The Creeper removed his attire, his hat and coat, and revealed its naked reptilian and humanoid figure to Faith. The creature was muscly defined. Its eyes opened wide and started to sniff the air. It was searching for pheromones, fear pheromones. It got aroused when it became aware that something was afraid of it. "It's a type of energy vampire," Faith proclaimed. "So you gonna come and get me now?" The Creeper screeched at Faith. It sounded like a fusion of a pig and a horse squealing. It flapped its wings and charged at Faith, trying to swoop her off the ground. Faith leapt off the ground and into the air with her super-fast twitch muscle reflexes, and then front-flipped into a counter-strike with her right leg into the center of the back and spine of the Creeper. It yelled as its torso got pressed into the ground. Then Faith, still on the Creeper's back, jumped off onto a large tree branch. The demon's face lay down in the mud. It popped its head up. It was angry. It snarled, then grabbed its hat and put it back onto its head, and suddenly grabbed for a knife, one that appeared to consist mostly of bone. The demon threw the knife towards Faith and struck the branch that she was standing on in half. Faith came falling down off the branch. Faith could sense the danger, but it was too late. She rolled to the ground, breaking her fall, and at the same time felt hands grasp onto her. No, they were feet. The Creeper's claws. It had grabbed her by her shoulders. Faith said sarcastically to the Creeper, "Oh, you're such a gentleman," while swinging her hips back and forth. Faith generated enough momentum and force to land a kick to the Creeper's face. He dropped Faith onto a pile of small stones, causing her to tumble over and twist her leg. Faith gestured to herself. "Okay, that sucked." The Creeper eyed Harmony, licking his lips, and glazed its eyes at the unconscious Marcus Duke, and then quickly looked back and stared at the vampire slayer. Faith then went on the offense to attack the Creeper. She leaped at the demon with a lead tornado kick, which the Creeper caught with both hands. Faith proceeded to do an upside-down kick. It landed. The kick uppercut landed right under the chin of the demon. The demon's body buckled backwards in the air, then it got its composure. It flexed and squeezed its biceps as if it was powering up. Then it glided after Faith. The beast was slashing Faith. She felt it, and it hurt. She used her forearms to guard against the Creeper's attacks. It was cutting into her with its sharp knife-like claws. "Ah!" Faith gasped. It then grabbed Faith's ankles with its clawed feet. It started to hook punch to Faith's body while pinning her down to the ground. It was preventing her from getting up, and it was also stretching her legs wide open. She was in a vulnerable spot. Faith suddenly threw her fingers as a power jab into the eyes of the Creeper. It squealed. In response, she had successfully damaged and poked out one of the eyes of the Creeper. In a frustrated rage, while still pinning Faith down to the ground, the Creeper pulled out the knife that it had before, the skeleton knife, and stabbed Faith in the shoulder with it, and licked the blood off the knife. It expressed a reaction of satisfaction and arousal. Faith went to swing a punch at the Creeper and missed. The Creeper countered with a bite to the other non-brushed shoulder. Faith replied, "Okay, you're officially an asshole." The demon rose its hand up for a moment and for another attack, and then wham! It felt a cold, stiff, blunt force object collide with its face. It was a rock, a large one. It had been thrown by Harmony, the dodgeball champion. The thing was now irate and was trying to charge at Harmony with Faith in its grasp. The demon pulled out its skeleton knife once again and went to stab Faith in the heart with it. But with the remaining strength that she could muster, Faith grabbed for a knife of her own, not only blocking the creeper's knife, but also breaking the skeleton knife onto the Kandarian dagger that was in her hands. The creeper looked down surprised to see his sacred knife shattered. It felt a sharp, cold single penetration going into its body. The heart, the demon thought to itself. No! It expressed to itself. Faith had stabbed the creeper in the heart with the Kandarian dagger. It screeched in a frustrated tone. It had been defeated, and it knew that it was out of time. It released Faith from its grip and stared at her until its body started the process of re-cocooning itself into hibernation. It whispered, Then it closed its eyes and folded inside of its cocoon, then dissipated. Faith tried to stand up on her feet, but collapsed to the ground. Harmony ran over to her. She stood in front of Faith and told her, "You are so cool. You're right, girls do rock." Faith smiled back at Harmony. "That's right. Now, girlie, if you don't mind using your powers to help me heal up, I need to be 5 by 5 again." Harmony said, "Sure." She started using her powers, and after a few minutes, Faith's wounds were starting to heal. "Wow, this is great," Faith said. "I already feel much better. Now we just need Sleeping Prince over there to wake up." Faith next stood up and said, "As long as you're able to do your healing thing, we have a good chance at getting far today. Now that we got that out of the way, that demon was creepy, so I expect next time for Wolf Ravenheart to bring something even more grimmier coming our way. Likely later on throughout the day. By no means is this over." Faith postulated. Harmony asked, "What do you mean, Faith, that this isn't over?" Faith then replied, "Remember when we talked about being a bitch to dishonest people?" Harmony replied, "Yeah?" Faith then said, "Well, this is the time to be one. So put your bitch face on. We're at war, and now it's time to play dirty. To play like a dirty bitch. Girls rock and girls kick ass too. Don't you ever forget that." Harmony smiled with confidence. "Yes, I won't." Director's headquarters. "Did you get all of that?" Lead Director Morgan asked the younger lady. Miss Acker, Lila continued, "I want a full diagram of the altercation. Faith Lehane, I think I understand her weakness. You know, in 2003, the First wasn't able to overtake her mind the way that we wanted it to. I must be better at realizing her Achilles heel." Miss Acker replied with enthusiasm, "Yes, ma'am, I'll have full dissertation on your desk within the next coming hour. I'm aware that we have access to one more artifact for the day. If we use one past that limit, the senior partners may get angry and want collateral in exchange." Director Morgan looked inside the soft brown eyes of Miss Ackers and reminded her who was the boss. "Collateral as in your life? If you were to fell me, you would have no concern of the senior partners. They are of my concern. Should I start looking for your replacement, Miss Acker?" Miss Acker replied, "Not necessary, ma'am. I'll get to that report." She left the room and entered an elevator and went down the elevator shaft. She thought to herself, "I always thought my experiments were more accurate and safer for the crew, but they went with Dr. Kane. Well, doesn't matter now. The ritual continues." "Rise, my warrior, rise," said the voice of Tina Shepard. "Always remember to enjoy the little things in life, Marcus," was the voice of Mr. Brixton. Then he felt a kiss on his cheek, with the taste of Snicker bars in his mouth. "Christina!" Marcus shouted out loud while waking up and standing to his feet. "Hey, M. Duke. That's the first thing you say, coming back into consciousness, Marcus?" "Whatever works," Faith said. Marcus then spoke. "Who the hell are you?" The other female replied, "Harmony, and you're welcome." End of Act 2. To be continued. Okay, Slashaholics, this concludes Act 2 of Curse of the Jersey Devil, a Jason Voorhees story by Rashad M. Moore. That last bit there, very chaotic, a lot of stuff going down there. Johnny Voorhees is dead, and a violent nature has been taken off the board, as it were. Riker's up to something, definitely thinking about going rogue and taking a bunch of power for himself. I don't know what the senior partners will think of that, but I guess we'll find out. And looks like Faith and Harmony just kicked the shit out of the Creeper. Didn't see that coming, but that definitely happened. A lot of stuff going down. I cannot believe Act 2 is already over. Rashad said it's going to be a little bit before Act 3 and 4 come out. He's going to work on an original novel, I believe, in the meantime, so I will probably be narrating that one as well. But yeah, let Rashad know what you thought of tonight's upload and Act 2 as a whole. I'll be uploading Act 1 and Act 2 together as one cohesive narration very soon, so be on the lookout for that. I'm curious to see how things are going to go down when Marcus, Faith, and Harmony take on Jason. You know, I feel like it's going to get a lot bloodier from here on out. But yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Slasher Mayhem here on the channel. And until then, this has been your friendly neighborhood 80s Slasher Librarian saying thanks for listening, be excellent to each other, and remember, the sun never sets on those who ride into it. And if you want to support the channel, the best thing you can do is spread the word, click the like button, drop a comment, be sure you're subscribed, click the bell so you always know when new narrations are dropping. If you want to go the extra mile, you can become a Patreon member, a channel member. You can hit our merch store, get a cameo video, buy one of my books on Amazon, or if you just want to do like a one-time tip thank you to the channel, you can do so as a super thanks comment here on YouTube or through PayPal or Cash App. All the information to do any of these things is in the pinned comment and description on every video here on the channel. And like I said before, thank you to Rashad M. Moore for this story. We've got Act 1 and Act 2 done now. If you have any questions for him, I'm sure he would love to answer your questions in the comment section below. So be sure to drop any questions or comments there for the author. We'll see you soon.